The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
The following program contains opinions expressed by the Dead Zone. If you find this broadcast offensive, lighten up, candy ass.
What?
Oh my gosh.
It's a radio show.
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
Initialize sequence now.
We're now in the approach phase. Everything looking good.
Dead Zone WDZRDB Worldwide. Welcome to the Dead Zone Paranormal Radio Show.
Dead Zone Paranormal Radio Show. May. Another month of this pandemic. I hope everyone's okay. Tonight we have Bobby J. Gallo. He's a world-class magician, a ghost hunter, a speaker, published author, and even I can't say the word, a musician. It's the best of both. I'm doing it again. The best of both worlds for this show. And that's not all. That's just glazing the surface. It's going to be a great show tonight. I hope you stick around. You're going to like this one.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
sky. Don't you want to be the monster they see? Rise with me. Rise with me. Rise with me. Make sure of my 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 make sure of my
This is Keith Age, and you're listening to The Dead Zone.
get sick. Another night.
Millions of people are affected by the Para-X bug.
I realize that it is something that will stay with me for the rest of my life and long into the afterlife as well.
If you have the Para-X bug, there is hope.
With a nightly visit to the Para-X website and intensive past life regression therapy, I can control it.
Even with the Para-X bug, I can still lead an active life of radio show hosting, paranormal investigating, evidence checking, attending conferences, book writing, keeping up with the latest technology, and still keep my 40-hour-a-week day job.
If you think that you have the Para-X bug or know someone who might, visit para-x.com and remember, you are not alone.
I am not alone.
I
am not alone.
The Para-X bug may cause the urge to chase shadow people, visit exotic haunted locations, adopt a pugwudgie, or spend all of your time trying to figure out the laws and principles of paranormal investigation. Listening to Para-X may increase these effects.
Sudden visions of full-body apparitions, or feeling the covers being pulled off you in the middle of the night by unseen hands, may also be signs of exposure to the Para-X bug.
The use of Para-X may be habit-forming, and an overwhelming desire to provoke spirits may be a serious side effect. If these symptoms last more than 4 hours, you should quickly consult a trusted witch and have her cast a "What the hell are you thinking?" spell on you. If symptoms persist, please contact the Para-X Radio Network Homeland Security Team for further instructions.
The Para-X bug may cause urges for late-night speaking with spirits and ghosts. Listening to Para-X may increase these effects. Overwhelming desire to try provoking a spirit may be a serious side effect. Those with Para-X bug effects lasting more than 4 hours should consult Para-X or see a professional. Sudden outbursts at the mention of orbs may be a sign of exposure to the Para-X bug. Use of Para-X may be habit-forming. Use caution when engaging in Para-X chat.
Your source for everything paranormal. Para-X.
This is Robbie Thomas, and you're listening to The Dead Zone.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
If all radio stations in town were palm trees, we'd be the one with the biggest coconuts.
Now,
here are the one, the only
Dead Zone.
Welcome back to the Dead Zone. If you're just tuning in, well, we appreciate the fact that you hung around for a while, but if you're just tuning in, like I said, we have Bobby J. Gallo, a world-class magician. World-class. Man, we want to hear about that.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Great to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Right. Man, we appreciate it very much. Thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, there's so much. Every facet you can think of, you're a part of.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm, a lot of people have called me a Renaissance person because basically I've dabbled in everything in my life. I like to think that when it's time for me to go to the afterlife and join all the ghosts that I've been talking to, I'll say I have absolutely no regrets.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, number one, first and foremost, a world-class magician. And then you've got under your belt a ghost hunter, a published author. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. A speaker, networking leader, corporate trainer. I mean, what does that entail? Yeah.
It's true, though. I mean, the corporate training is what pays the bills, to be honest with you. It used to be a professional magician. I used to be a full-time magician touring around the country doing trade shows, colleges. I've even done Vegas. But basically, once I got married and wanted to raise a family,
yeah,
being a professional magician is really not where it's at. There's a lot of travel. I wanted to settle down. So, basically got a quote-unquote regular job.
Yeah.
And but now still do it. I still do it every now and again, though.
Right. But your main focus now is, well, we'll get to the book here. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But
absolutely.
Yes. Your main focus now is the book. You're also the co-creator and headmaster of the International Conservatory of Magic.
Yes. It's the world's largest website for professional magicians.
That is so cool. I mean, I'm just at a loss. I mean, there's so many places. There's so many places to start, and I'm kind of ill prepared for this. I apologize for that. My gosh, man. When did
start anywhere?
Yeah, when did this all start for you? I mean, let's just start from the beginning. Since this is a paranormal show, what geared you towards the paranormal field? I'm sorry.
Well, what a lot of people don't know about me was the fact that I was actually doing paranormal investigation before the term paranormal investigator was ever coined. It was back in the late 80s, in the early 90s. I was so interested in all things spooky and weird, as a child. I was into all of that stuff. But there was actually a theater in the town that I grew up in that was built by my great uncle.
Okay.
And all these famous vaudeville stars used to perform there on the way, to and from. It was midway between New York City and the Pocono Mountains, so they would start off in this town called Netcon and do a couple nights before they went on to the Poconos from New York.
Right. They would hone their craft. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, really famous people like Bud Abbott of Abbott and Costello.
Right.
Burns and Allen. George Burns. I mean, really famous people.
Right.
Of the time.
Right.
And after it stopped becoming a show place, it became a moving and storage facility. Things started to happen in the theater. And the owner was having things thrown at him, poltergeist activity as large as small appliances like bread toasters.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, were being thrown at him literally. He became so terrified he wouldn't set foot in the place after sundown. So I get wind of this, and since I had a family connection to the place, I wanted to investigate it. This is going way, way back.
Right.
So me and a couple friends, we put together a team. We called ourselves the Psy Guys because one of the guys on the team.
Can I stop you there? Can I stop just for a moment? What do you mean by way, way back? No, I, if you don't want to, don't tell us your age. But what do you mean by way, way back? I mean.
Oh, no problem.
I mean,
I'm 50. Yeah, I'm 56 years old.
There you go. Okay. All right. Yes.
And this was in the late 80s.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So we called ourselves the Psy Guys, and we had no idea what we were doing. So, but we did know enough to bring a camera and a video recorder.
Right.
And basically, that's what we used. And we did something like we put an old key on a piece of string to use as a pendulum. Because I knew a few things from some old books on ghost hunting that I read.
Right.
And we went out and we did this investigation. And sure enough, we got activity. And this was, like I said, this was way before the ghost hunting phenomenon.
Oh yeah.
That of today.
Oh yeah. I'm 1 year younger than you, actually. So yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Perfect.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what had happened was we did this investigation. We did a few other things, and I pretty much let it go by the wayside. And we still have that video footage, today. And years later, what happened was, I had a family. I got married. I had kids. And we had just burned through the entire series of Dark Shadows.
Oh, love that, yeah.
Yeah, like 300 episodes.
Yeah.
And, we were all into it, and my kids were looking for something new to watch. And this is going on about 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it was exactly 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we stumbled upon this brand new show on the Travel Channel. You might have heard of it, called Ghost Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids were enthralled. They were just like dumbfounded at what these guys were doing.
Right.
So one night I turned to them and I said, "Hey kids, Daddy used to do that too."
Right.
And they looked at me. It was stunned shock.
Yeah.
It was like that moment. If you ever saw the movie Spy Kids,
yeah.
where the young boy says, "My parents aren't cool enough to be spies," it was that kind of moment.
Right.
Immediately they go, "Dad, we have to do this."
Right.
And these are young kids.
Yeah, they're your two daughters, right?
My two daughters.
Yeah, Nicole and Courtney. Is that okay to say? I'm sorry.
Nicolette and Courtney, exactly.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I think we could pull this off. And at the time, I was looking, on the internet, and I was on Facebook, and I saw that there were people selling equipment. So we got some of the rudimentary equipment, and we went out ghost hunting.
Yeah.
And it just snowballed from there, because really what we wanted to find out was whether we can get the same evidence that these guys on TV were getting, because even though I did it in the late 80s, these guys were killing me. I couldn't believe the stuff that these guys were getting.
Well,
it turned out that we actually got more.
It is TV, though, too. You got to realize that, though. I mean, it is, they do it for ratings. I mean, I'm sorry. I wish everyone was here, but they're not. I apologize for that, with Corona and everything, but I'm the skeptic of our group, and, it's like, yeah, that's great, but that's a TV show, and if we could find that kind of evidence in an hour, that would be awesome. But it doesn't work that way, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? We find that it's different for different people.
Yeah.
And what we found when we did it is that we were actually getting evidence on almost every investigation.
Everyone? Really?
Yeah. I mean, now we know people that never get evidence.
Right.
And these guys have been. I've known some investigators that have been trying for years to get one solid piece of evidence.
Right.
And we were just getting it all the time. And it's not just me saying it. I mean, you could ask any one of the family, and I talk about that in my book.
Right. And we'll talk about that later on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But no. Hey, look, it's healthy to be a skeptic because there's a lot of fraud going on out there, and we do know that a lot of these television shows they get evidence, but they embellish it.
Of course. Yeah.
They have to make it sensational because they have to maintain a viewership.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true, and there's a lot of people that don't understand that. And I feel for them. We try to tell them. I mean, like you just said, you started out with rudimentary equipment, right?
Yes, we did.
And that's all you really need. You don't need to blow your bank on all these new gadgets. Great, they're fun. It's great to play with, but you don't need all that. You don't need all of that stuff. Yeah. Wow.
No, you do. You don't.
No, you don't. Very good. I'm sorry. I interrupt you again. Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. No, this is a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were actually getting a lot, and very early on in our paranormal careers, we had some very frightening experiences.
Okay.
But we've actually had more positive than frightening. But it's really been an adventure for us. And what had happened is, I'm the type of guy I have to get everything documented because, as I say in my book, unless you have some type of documentable evidence, all you really have is a good ghost story.
Right. Yeah.
So, you just can't go by anecdotal evidence. You have to be able to show people things. So I was videotaping things right from the very beginning. And I ended up getting so much footage, I said to myself, why don't I put this on YouTube?
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and since you are, pretty much my age,
yes,
you know that back 10 years ago,
yeah,
you could count the amount of people with
absolutely
paranormal web series on one hand.
Absolutely, yes.
And we were one of those people. And our first couple videos went viral, and then YouTube, for reasons that are known only to YouTube, they pulled our monetization, which is really what we were depending on to continue to do investigations. We went over to Daily Motion, but once we did that, we already had a fan base of thousands of people. We were getting tens of thousands of hits on our videos.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing how the Facebook and YouTube and everything has. I mean, it's almost a scam in my opinion. YouTube and everything is. They want so much out of you. If you don't do so much, they cut your followers. They cut your all that kind of whatever. Yeah. Don't get me started on that because I'll just go off and that's not what we're here for.
But it's good for people to know what's going on because a lot of people think that they're going to be the next YouTube stars.
No.
It's exactly what you just said.
Exactly.
Unless you can't give them ironclad results, they're going to pull the rug out from under you, which is what they did with us.
Right. And by results, we're talking about money. We're not talking about
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
And Daily Motion did the same thing to us, believe it or not. As a matter of fact, all of a sudden one day, I saw the monetization just stop. Money wasn't being generated, and I knew we were getting viewers. And then I had found out that they instituted a brand new policy that paranormal phenomenon and UFOs are now considered sensitive subjects and no longer eligible for monetization.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
So, but
whatever.
What happened is we just went to our final home, which is Vimeo, which is a different animal altogether. We have to pay to be on Vimeo instead of getting paid, but now we remastered the entire series. Everything's in HD, 1080 HD quality. It looks like a television show.
Right, and that's really cool. That is awesome. And that is your video. We're not talking about the family spirits right now. We're talking about your videos on that can be downloaded. Where?
Well, ghosthunter.ws is our website.
Yeah.
Or they can go to the Vimeo app on either Roku or Amazon Fire Stick if they want to watch it on their TV.
Right.
Just type in Gallo Family Ghost Hunters.
Right.
And they can watch the entire series.
There you go. You heard that, guys. Right. Okay. Very good.
I encourage people to do that.
Yeah, and let me backtrack one just a little bit here. And it's another thing that we always ask everyone. You mentioned you've had some scary moments on your investigation. What was the one that just made you say, "Oh, we need to think about this"?
Well, there were a few. The first one was, believe it or not, our second investigation. Believe it or not, our second investigation.
Right.
We investigated a very old cemetery in Fort Mill, South Carolina, called Old Unity Cemetery. It's about 250 years old.
Right.
It contains Revolutionary War heroes as well, right up to the Civil War.
Right.
And we were just using an EMF detector at the time, and all of a sudden we were starting to get EMF activity at one particular spot in this old cemetery where there was no power, no nothing. It was just devoid of anything. And all of a sudden, some intelligent entities starting to communicate by pinging the needle on the EMF detector. We're asking a question, it's responding.
What do you use? Which one do you use? The EMF, you said. Do you use a K2 or the trifield or what?
We have a trifield natural.
Okay, so that's one you use. Because you said pegging. You said pegging, so I assumed you meant that. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. So basically, we asked it if it wanted us to leave, and the thing nearly jumped out of my hand.
No.
It pinned, and it's one of those moments where you know something's happening because not only is the evidence in your hand, but you feel it. And we all got a very oppressed feeling, and we all felt it at the same time that this thing wanted us out of the cemetery. So we left. The second time was we were in another cemetery where repeatedly something in the cemetery was draining our equipment. And it just kept doing it. It wanted us out. Finally, my wife had just started working with the dowsing rods at the time.
Oh, Michelle loves those. Yeah, Michelle has those too, yeah.
Yeah, and I found out very early on in our investigations that my wife actually had a natural talent for these things.
Right.
She was so good at using the rods, and if you watch our episodes and you watch her, I've had some of the brightest minds in the paranormal field look at these videos. I mean, this woman doesn't move a muscle.
Right.
And she makes these things react on command. Well, I don't think she's really doing it, something else.
Yes.
But she started communicating with the spirit, and my oldest daughter, who is also empathic, started feeling very oppressed at the same time when all our equipment was being drained. And it was telling us in those uncertain terms that it wanted us to leave. Upon investigation, I did some investigation research on the cemetery and found out that there were actually voodoo rituals being performed there.
Oh,
and
really?
Actual newspaper articles on it.
Wow.
So I chalked this up to being a guardian spirit of sorts that wanted us out.
And this was in Pennsylvania?
No, this was in South Carolina.
South Carolina. Oh, well, that makes sense then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
So we but a lot of the videos, if you watch them, they're not overly sensational. They're very, but if you do watch them, you definitely can feel what's going on. You're right there with us, and you can see it. My family doesn't fake it. We don't fake anything. As a matter of fact, that's the one thing I tell people. If they read the book or watch the video series, we fake nothing.
Exactly.
So, and Fiona Broom, who did the foreword to our book, who's very well respected, she read the book, and one of the best things she said about the book in the foreword was, "This is ghost hunting how it really is."
Yeah.
As it really is.
As it really is. Yeah. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, we've been doing it for years, and it can be really mind-blowing for like 5 minutes and bore you to death forever. I mean, that's true. That's the way it is. Yeah. All right. Well, that's very cool. Okay, let's talk about your, wait a minute. One more question. You answered it already. I was going to ask you how your wife feels about what you guys do, but you answered it already with the dowsing rod, so I thought maybe you guys went out and she's like, oh my gosh, they're going out again. Here they go. And You know.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because in the beginning, a lot of the evidence we were getting, she thought I was putting her on.
Right.
Because I was a professional magician, and I could easily fake this.
Absolutely, yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do it, because if Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters were faking the stuff on TV, I was going to be able to figure it out.
Right.
But it was when she started holding the equipment, and she started getting the feelings, and the sensations, and things touching her arm.
Right. Exactly.
That's when she realized it was real.
Exactly the same with Michelle. I mean, I can hold the K2 meter like one of her favorite ones, and I get nothing. She can take it from me, and it just goes off the chart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. She says it's because I have a closed mind, but that's fine. Whatever. I don't know. But yeah, oh man, that. What is your favorite piece of equipment, by the way?
I get this question a lot, so I'm prepared for the answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually called Spirit Touch, and it was made by a company called Gotcha Ghost.
Gotcha Ghost. Okay.
Yep. And basically what it is it works on the same principle as a cell phone. It takes an exchange of human electrons to make an LED light go on and off.
Okay.
And is actually designed so it cannot be triggered by outside interference or EMF.
Okay, so
it's a pretty ironclad piece of equipment.
Right, so faulty wiring in a home or your cell phone in your pocket you forgot to turn off, that won't trigger it.
Correct.
Okay.
And but the premise is pretty much the same as like the flashlight experiment, which I'm very dubious of.
We have varying opinions on that, and I'm not a fan of it. But yeah, I get you.
Me neither. There we go. We're in the same camp on that.
Yeah.
But this is as far as yes or no questions or getting something to trigger it, the concept is pretty similar. But we've had actually spirits turn it on and off at varying times during investigations.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, one of our most recent investigations, just a couple months back, because we stopped doing it for a number of years and we started up again.
Right.
For the very first time, we actually had an entity touch it repeatedly. Repeatedly. It just kept touching it on and off, on and off, on and off. And it's something that we had never seen before.
Okay.
Kind of blew me away.
Right.
Because that's just not supposed to happen.
Right. Now this was it in a home? Was it was it outdoors? Was it in a certain location?
It was in a cemetery.
It was in a cemetery, so there was no power. There was no way.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, that's
we actually do a lot of cemetery investigations, and a lot of people, people have different opinions on even if you should be investigating cemeteries. But look, we cut our teeth with a book called Ghost Hunting and Haunted Cemeteries by Fiona Broom, which
long time ago. Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
That's my favorite book.
Right.
And there's so much that goes on in cemeteries. People go, well, why would ghosts want to haunt their earthly remains? Well, actually, we found out for a lot of reasons. But we find that it's one of the most reliable places to ghost hunt for that very reason. There's normally no power around, and nothing that can trigger this equipment.
Right. Yeah. That's I keep trying to think of places that we have been before, but we really can't go anywhere anymore because if you get caught in a cemetery after sundown, you get fined. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean. It's very, very difficult to get nighttime investigations in cemeteries, and you can get a lot of activity in the daytime as well. But I find that if you're looking for photographic anomaly, you really need to be there at night because that's when you're going to catch. Our strongest piece of photographic evidence we ever got is a full body apparition. We got that at night.
And that was and that was using just a regular point and shoot camera or what?
That was an infrared camera.
Infrared, okay.
Yep, infrared. And we were actually in an old family-owned cemetery that we got permission to investigate that had a reputation for being haunted.
Yeah.
And in fact, as far as our episodes go, if people ask me to watch just one episode, they say, Bobby, we're going to go to your channel tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go to Vimeo, type in Gallo Family Ghost Hunters in the search bar, and which which one do we watch? This is the one to watch. It's called The Hidden Grave of Thomas Sprott.
Okay, you heard that, right? You guys heard that. Okay.
The Hidden Grave of Thomas Sprott. And it starts out with me going there in the daytime and literally not being able to enter the gates of the cemetery. My EMF detector literally going berserk.
Really?
It's a small cemetery in the middle of the woods with nothing around. I had to go through like all these red ant mounds and everything to get there. It was horrible.
Oh, yeah, I imagine, yeah.
And then but I found a little path so that when I went back there at night, we wouldn't get surprised. And we got permission from the family to investigate it at night. We contacted the entity that was haunting the cemetery. His name was Thomas Sprott, actually a Revolutionary War hero. You know, if you look him up, he's actually buried there. And we asked him if he would pose for a picture.
Yeah.
And through the rods, and he said yes. So my oldest daughter, Nikki G, she was taking pictures at the time.
Yeah.
Right next to me, she goes, "Dad, you got to see this." She's taking it in IR mode. I said, I was telling her, you can see it on this. It's very funny.
Right.
Because this is all real life. I'm saying it on the video. I said, no, we'll do evidence review later. She goes, no, you need to see this now. And I look into the viewfinder. It's standing right next to me, as tall as me. You can see it, and he's slightly hunched over, wearing a cloak.
Right.
Full body apparition.
Wearing a cloak. A cloak, you say?
Wearing a cloak, you can see it.
You mean a cloak as in what? A Civil War duster, more or less? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, like if you ever see a picture of George Washington on horseback, it's that kind of cloak that
Okay, I got you. Wow.
Very clear.
And you have that posted somewhere on one of your websites, or
just watch the episode.
Watch the episode,
and
okay.
Show it.
Yeah.
Very clearly, very slowly, you can see it. And what's even more amazing is you could see, because she was continually taking pictures.
Yeah.
It was a succession of shots where he started as an orb.
Okay.
And then from an orb, he blew up into a small cloud in front of my wife.
Okay.
You could actually see energy being sucked from my wife's recorder into this cloud.
To manifest.
And
then,
from there to a full body apparition,
right,
where you could actually see a human form.
To manifest himself. Did he interact with you? Do you think it was he knew you were there, or was it just what's the word?
No, he knew we were there.
He knew you were there.
I had brought my wife back after that episode where I couldn't enter the gates.
Right.
And she started communicating with him through the rods, and she asked him for permission if we could enter.
Okay.
And he said yes. And again, right on the episode, you'll see how the EMF detector stops reacting suddenly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and all of a sudden I was able to enter, no problem. And we actually had a pretty good conversation. In fact, we went back the next day during the daytime, and with the rods, he led us to the remains of an old fort that was built during the Revolutionary War.
No kidding. Around that cemetery.
Yes.
Wow, and no one knew about that?
Oh, no, people knew about it.
Oh, people knew. Okay. Well, still yet. That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I said, we've had some great experiences, and we've we got to the point now where it's no longer a question of ghosts exist. We know they exist.
Yes.
It's just now we're trying to find the answers to those big questions that always escape you when you're on an investigation. The ones that as soon as you ask them, the ghost just books.
Is gone. Yeah.
Is gone.
Right.
And I find that a lot of investigators that I speak to, they have the same experience.
Right.
Occasionally we'll get a good answer, but most of the time we don't.
Right. I think it might depend on the person asking the questions. You know what I mean? It's like Michelle. She can get responses. I say anything I say, I get nothing. I mean, they're like, who's this guy? Get out of here. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, and this is another similarity we have, is that if I go out on a solo investigation, I don't get half of the
exactly
that I get when the girls are there.
Right. I mean, it's like, well, I guess what she says about me anyway is true. I'm closed off. It's been so long, so many years. I'm like, come on, I know this. I saw that. I can pick that up. I know what that was, and make me believe, and I just don't sometimes. I'll put it that way. Sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You're open enough to go on investigations, and kudos to you.
Right, because I really want to know, and we have caught quite a few weird. If you go to our website, you can see some full body apps and all that kind of thing. But I've never seen them myself, only on camera. The ones I've taken only on camera.
Well, I've never seen anything either. The only real experience I have is I've been touched on the arm a few times, and I've had some really strange feelings.
Oh, that reminds me. Let me tell you real quick about one before we get to your book here. A place here in town a couple of months ago, we did a residential, and it involved children. We went through the house several times. We've been told this house is active, and the people were scared. And we went through the whole thing. It was like a couple of hours, maybe 3. Nothing happened really. We were packing up. We were getting ready to go. I was standing in the hallway, and my coat tail flipped up right by a little crib. And that was very weird. I was like, oh, okay. Well, hello. Yeah. That was strange. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's usually when you least expect it. But I can tell you for sure that my youngest, Courtney, she can see orbs. I mean, she can see them, and we have proof that she can see them.
Right.
Because she's seen them, and I've taken pictures and video in the exact spot she's telling me she's seeing them, and there they are.
Right.
And it's a talent. It really is. So yeah, I mean, I don't really, and I'm not so sure I really want to see them. I'm happy with the evidence.
Yeah, well, I really don't. The orbs are one thing. I mean, everyone has their own opinion about orbs, the dust, and all that, right. Whatever. Yeah, but I wouldn't mind just catching a glimpse every now and again. Right. just to ease my mind, because I go, look at this, look what I just caught on camera, right? Well, I was standing right there, and there was nothing there. But yet, look on this camera. Look at this. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, it is. Well, here's the thing, especially with IR, infrared. I mean, the human eye can only see a very small, portion of the, of the visible spectrum.
Right.
There's so much outside of that spectrum that we can't see, but like cats can see them, dogs can see them,
absolutely.
Birds can see them. We can't see them because we have very limited eyesight. We have the highest intelligence in the animal kingdom, and our senses are some of the lowest in the animal kingdom.
Right.
Which is why animals are so much more sensitive than we are. But there are some people, and I think my youngest is a great example, who have that gift where they can't see them.
Right.
But that's why we have to rely on digital camera and video and things like that, because that can capture that phenomenon that we can't see.
Right. The one thing that really caught my attention when you were talking about your past adventures in the ghost hunting, you never used a digital recorder, or you never mentioned it anyway.
Well, in the beginning, they weren't invented yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I still have my old little mini cassette.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Right, good luck. Good luck finding those anymore. Anyway, well, you can find them, but
exactly.
Right, yeah.
But but we've got an EVP that will just knock your socks off.
Nice.
So
very cool.
If you're going to talk, that's a whole nother.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole other discussion.
That's a whole new show. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and we're going to have you back if that's okay.
Absolutely.
But right now, we want to talk to you about your book about family spirits. How did that come to be?
Well, it's like this, about a year and a half ago, I was looking back and I was looking at the web series, and I said to myself, there are so many things that happened on our investigations that you don't see on any of the videos.
Right.
Like, what was the ride home like after the investigation?
Yeah. Yeah, I do know, yeah. I know, yeah.
What happened behind the scenes? What was so significant about certain things that that people watching the video are not going to understand? Because let's face it, we as investigators, we have coined our own lingo, our own terminology, our own way of interpreting evidence that the normal layman looking at a ghost hunting show just doesn't understand. So I said, how about if I do this? I said, how about if I explain all of this to people and then walk through each of our episodes so they could really get a handle on what we did. And I floated the idea out into the paranormal community
Yeah.
into my circle of it anyway.
Right.
And got such an overwhelming response of people that absolutely wanted me to write it that I did. So
Cool. Yeah.
I once I started, it was like mental diarrhea. It was,
Yeah, right.
it was just common. It was amazing. I finished it in like a month.
Like a relief. A relief. You got to tell someone. Get it out there. Yeah.
And it ended up being 260 pages.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking a big book.
Right.
And with photos and just about everything you could imagine. So I said, man, I hope this is good. So I contacted Fiona Bruman. I didn't know her personally. I was just a huge fan of hers. And I said, look, can I send you this manuscript? Can you read it? And if you like it, can you write a foreword? She didn't know me from Adam. She goes, I'll read it.
Sure.
She reads it, gets back to me.
Loved it.
She goes,
Yeah.
I love this book.
There you go. Yeah. All right, man.
And she wrote a phenomenal foreword to the book. And she goes, no, this is great. She goes, no, but she goes, very rarely, she goes, paranormal books usually fall into one of two categories, either people's personal stories or how-to. She
Right.
goes, I don't know how you managed to do both, but you did.
That's cool, yeah.
And I said, wow, that's great. So, and basically that's how it came to be. And what it is everything I know about the paranormal in the first half. The second half is all of our experiences.
Yeah.
And it's a great primer to the web series. Because if you read the book, you're going to want to watch the web series. And if you watch the web series first, you're definitely going to want to read the book because you're going to go back to the book and you're like, oh, that's what he's talking about.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Very cool. And again, the web series can be found on Roku and...
Yep, you can find it on Roku or Amazon Fire Stick. It's on the Vimeo app.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go to the Vimeo channel, Vimeo app, and you just type in the search bar, Gallo Family Ghost Hunters. Boom, all 60 episodes pop up.
Okay.
And you can start anywhere you want. I will tell the people one thing. This is one thing very important.
Okay.
Some episodes are better than others.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying with anyone. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because it's all real.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I didn't want to sensationalize anything. The only thing I ever get criticized for is the fact that I do have some, music in there for production value. And
Of
some
course.
people don't like that because they like to listen really closely. They can pick out anything that we missed. But hey, what? It is a show.
Have you seen Ghost Adventures or any other show? Have you seen Ghost Adventures or any other show on TV? That's all you hear is music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, nothing is fake. Everything is real. Some shows are going to be better than others. That being said, some shows are really going to blow you away.
Right.
And and the Thomas Sprott, I think, is one of those.
Yeah.
There are some others where we just, we get evidence that, like there's an episode called "We Were Not Alone," which is, in my opinion, the best EVP I've ever heard, and I caught it accidentally.
Okay.
We weren't even going for it. Had the recorder on in my pocket, forgot to shut it off.
Yeah. Been there before.
Kidding.
Yeah, I've been there before. Yeah.
My wife and I are tripping over the headstones trying to get out of the cemetery before it got completely black.
All right.
Get home, realize it's on, download the file, review it, and you can hear as clear as day as we are tripping trying to get out of the cemetery.
Yeah.
A woman's voice comes in and says, "Come back, don't leave now."
Very cool. I would love to hear that. Yeah.
It's called "We Were Not Alone."
Okay.
And that's one of the episodes, and it's just one of those things. When that happens to you, and you weren't even planning it, that's like all the validation that's delivered.
Yeah, that's the best kind right there. I mean, it's like a little present for you right there. Yeah. Very cool. Okay, Bobby. Man, we appreciate you being on. I wish we could have had your wife and maybe the kids on, but maybe next time.
Yeah, can I just give out the website real quick?
Absolutely. We want to hear everyone. We want to know where to go to find your book, to where to go for the school, everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's start with the book. Now, the book you can get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, any of those websites, it's available. But if you want to, you can go to FamilySpiritsBook.com.
Okay.
And if you go to FamilySpiritsBook.com,
okay,
you can you can order direct from the publisher. It's kind of going to be like the fastest way to get it.
Okay. Very cool. And the price would be, if you don't mind saying?
Well, here's the thing. For your listeners, we actually have a special.
Okay.
The normal cover price is $18.95.
Okay.
But if you put in the promo code 2020,
yeah,
you'll get 20% off.
Very cool. That's awesome. Okay, guys. Bobby J. Gallo. Yeah. I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Spiritsbook.com.
Okay. One more thing before I let you go.
Yes.
You now live in a castle? Is that true?
I do.
You live in a castle. Very cool.
It's a small castle.
It's your castle. It's one man's castle, right? There you go.
In Roseto, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Oh, if they want to check out the Magic School, too, it's magicschool.com. It's free.
There you go. That's what I was going to ask you about that, too. Very cool. You know, I kind of thought you were talking about the one that, what's his name? I forgot his name now. Doogie Howser runs it. What was his name?
You know, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. The school is in California?
No, the school is here. The school's online.
Oh, okay. But the guy that played Doogie Howser, what was his name?
I can't remember. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Hey, guys, you got the website. You've got all the information you need to know. We're going to have Bobby back on again, and hopefully we'll have maybe Nicole and Courtney.
Nicole and Courtney, they would love to be on. Absolutely.
And his wife, and it will be a great show. I can't wait to hear what they have to say about what happened.
And they have a lot to say.
Man, that's going to be so cool. All right, well, thank you very much, sir, and we will talk to you again. We'll talk to you again.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
He's a man. He's a myth. He's almost a mystery. He's an icon. The one, the only, Bob Damaris. Bob, how you doing this weekend? Doing great, guys. How about you?
we're doing wonderful.
We're doing better than we were yesterday.
Yeah, well, dragging ass a little bit.
You were one of the only people who has said that at a convention on a Sunday.
Dead Zone WDZRDB Worldwide. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends.
This is the Dead Zone Paranormal Radio Show.
Thanks for listening.